Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Mesified server. We are back over at our base. There's a creeper just outside, he's wandered off now. You know, he's standing next to this window a minute ago and I was wondering, if I'm standing on this side of the block and it's standing on the other side, can it explode even though the glass panes are between us? I don't know, I don't really want to find out, not here on the server at least. And we're back and now I have seen your feedback on episode 500. All of you loved it. It was really great. There was so much good positivity around that video. Many of you liked it indeed. There were a few people who weren't too keen on me doing something different. You know what? I think doing something different every once in a while is a good thing. And there were a few of you that I felt didn't quite understand my sense of humour on that video. Some people saying it was cringy. I think cringy applies to when it's not supposed to be cringy, right? Like, I'm very aware that I can't act, that I'm not good at doing... Did you just teleport over here? No. I can't act, I can't do voice acting very well, and it was all about just being a little bit quirky and funny, you know, and saying silly lines like Jiminy Crickets, I better cheese it. Oh, when I was editing that, it just made me laugh so many times. Such a silly line to say. It was all about having a bit of fun, and I thought I'd sort of address that though, because it feels like, you know, a sense of humour. Sometimes some people don't quite get what your sense of humour is, I guess. So it was all about just being a little bit silly and quirky with it. Anyway, I'm not vine farming. What we're actually going to do, believe it or not, is tear down this wall. We're going to tear it down and expand our base outwards. It's something that I've been wanting to do, and with things being a little bit hectic, as I've mentioned many times lately, haven't really found the building groove lately. And the other day I got a little bit of time, popped onto xisumavoid.com and just hung out there for a while doing some building and came up with a design for a tower which we're going to build over here. So the plan has always been to have a tower on this little island. I was sort of wondering why the trapdoor's staying there. Of course it's 1.9, they can just float in the air if they want to. And yeah, the plan has been to build a little bit of a garden over in this area where the cobblestone goes up to, and then that garden would lead into this area where we would have a tower. And at first I sort of pictured like a circular tower going all the way up into the sky with a nice spiral roof on the top of it. But when it came to building it, I had a lot of trouble getting a base that looked cool. And what I ended up doing is actually sort of connecting it to this building. So I need some of that achacha wood, and I haven't really got a lot of it to demonstrate what's going on here. So we're going to repeat this wall pattern. So we will have some spruce stairs, some dark oak, and what are we doing here? We're going like back in by 1, 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure if I'm building this in the correct place, but we will do our best. 1, 2, 3, and then there's a gap, and then this would be 1, 2, 3 right here, right? Doesn't really come all the way out into this island like I initially planned for it. Not quite there. So yeah, anyway, it's going to come out like that, and we're going to repeat the wall pattern, so there will be lots of dark oak going across here. It will lead up to about the same height, and it will create like a square that goes around in this area. Now, I haven't got the right wood, but let's just build up with this one above where the achacha is. So it will come up to around this height, and then it would also finish up just over the other side right here, I think. Or maybe it's in by 1 block. I forget, but basically we're going to have like a big square area here. It's not going to be too pretty, but then we're going to build the tower out of it. So the tower won't have its own individual base. It'll sort of be built out of this square region. Look at these cats. Why are they there? Do you remember? Do you remember we just cleared out the wall here? There were no cats on this side of the wall. I think that's it actually. As I've been building this, they've just sort of been cropping up and moving closer and closer towards me. It's like that mob in Mario. Hey, where am I? I just crafted something. There they are. They are so difficult to see. They're like the same colour as the background. Yeah, they're like that mob in Mario where you face one direction and it moves towards you, and as soon as you turn around and look at it, it stops moving, because these guys have been inching closer and closer towards me as I've been hanging out over here and building. I don't know what's up with them. But anyway, this is basically the gist of what we're doing up here. Looks like I've run out of materials. We're going to have like a area up the top that you can technically walk around, but it's not really going to be that useful. Also, all of this is probably going to get opened up as well. So the tower is going to sort of start in the middle of this space and go up into the sky. If we drop down to the other side, you'll see that this is what it looks like. Still needs a few more details. I've also been wrestling with this idea that perhaps what we could do is drop some of the clay down at the bottom here, because over on that side, that is how it traditionally looks. It goes down further, you've got the stone at the bottom. It looks a lot more structured than this bit here does. It just sort of, you know, go straight into the clay and it doesn't look, I don't know, it doesn't look very structured, does it? So yeah, we might mess around with that later on, but that's the general idea. So now if we throw an ender pearl to get through to the other side, bam, I love having ender pearls now, so good. Of course, we've got the ender farm, and they're nice and accessible. So yeah, it means that this area here is going to be a little bit bigger, and one of the things that we did have was our nether portal. So when the tower goes up here, underneath what we will have is a staircase to get up to the top, and then somewhere down here there'll be a nether portal as well. So this is going to be like the nether portal room that then leads into the rest of the base. Alright, so the roof here is coming together, and this tower is going to be built out of both wood, mainly dark oak and spruce, and some stone bricks as well. And as I went to pick... Oh my god, of course, they spawn on the roof, and now they can drop down here. That's slightly alarming, something I haven't thought about. Well, that sort of ties into what I'm going to be considering next. So, as I was saying, yeah, there's going to be stone bricks up here, and I hadn't really considered using cracked bricks and mossy, but we've sort of done that everywhere else, so I might continue that on this tower part and just see how it feels. But the general idea is that we're going to have stone come in at this point, and the tower is going to extend upwards with some dark oak like this, and then we're going to throw in some stair blocks. Is that another one coming in off the roof? Thought it might have been for a second. Yeah, something like this. Just trying to build it from memory here. Throw in the occasional cracked brick and then some andesite there to break up the pattern a little bit, and then I think that's a pillar of dark oak. And this is sort of how it reaches the second floor, and then there's going to be like an overhang. Anyway, as I've been doing this, I've been thinking about how we're going to connect it to this area, and we've seen a real reason not to connect it because of the roof, and there's no way I'm going to light up that roof. I just want to leave it alone. So it's quite likely that this will actually be closed off then, and my plan was perhaps to have an entrance going in at this point so you could walk in here, and that means that we could have had the nether portal perhaps at this height and used the room down below for something entirely different. Now one of the cats has moved again. One's gone in there. This guy's decided he's not going to sit anymore. He's a rebel. Stop that, you. Sit down. These cats, ever since I've had them, they've been nothing but trouble. By trouble, I mean being adorable, but being adorable and chasing you around a lot. And you set me on fire. Great. So yeah, it looks like perhaps... And look! I caught you guys this time. I caught you. And you as well. What's up with that? Alright, so anyway, most likely that this is going to be a portal down here. So this will be our portal room. And then we'll have a staircase to go up. And there won't be any way to get to this bit because, as you saw, mobs can fall off the roof. And yeah, I was considering perhaps making this a staircase to go down to like the next floor because I do want to build a second floor down below here. But enough about that. We'll do that at some point in the future. Just going to focus on the tower for today. Well, Kitty Cat is now up here. I think I sussed out why they're teleporting around. It's because I get attacked, and when I take damage, they seem to move around. Sometimes they teleport, sometimes they just stand up and wander around. So now we've got a cat up here. Oh, I don't know what's going on with them. Anyway, this here is going to be like the beginning of the first floor, where we have a window. And if I just pop down here, you can see the sort of work that I've done on this floor. Although we never really get to appreciate this too much, because the view from down below is not so great, really, is it? And where's that skeleton around here? Let's take care of this guy. See you later, sucker. Anyway, I had a bit of an idea. A good idea, actually. Let's go around inside the base. Is there any cats left in here? Just this guy, yeah. The other two have sort of teleported up there. And this idea is to connect it like this. So we would fill in the glass on either side, and then this would be separate from the roof on the outside, which means any mobs coming from the roof down onto this floor, they would actually be separated from us. But at the moment it looks a little bit odd. I think what we need to do is get some slabs in here on the floor like that, so it comes up to the same level. Maybe this entire floor should just be at this level as well, and then the stair block doesn't quite work, so maybe what we could do is bring like a polished andesite over like that, and that could connect it. Doesn't quite look the same. That doesn't look as good though, because you've got the log exposed. But yes, what I'm saying is something along those lines is how we're going to connect it together. As I look at it though, maybe even bringing this like all the way out with some solid blocks wouldn't be a bad idea. Anyway, so the nether portal could go here. This would be a sort of entrance into the base, and then it means we build a staircase leading down, and then, I don't know, all sorts of things can happen from that point. But anyway, we've worked on this a fair bit. We're going to head over to the brown district next. That's always an awesome sight on this server. Just wandering around, just seeing someone fly through the sky, no big deal. It's 1.9, what do you expect? And yes, the reason that we're heading over here is to check out the purpose shop, because people have actually been buying these lately, which is decent. And you know what? I think this price is just way too low to really make any sales. But that's actually a lot of blocks sold if you think about it. 6 times 4, plus we've got an extra one in here. And yeah, I've been stocking this up. It's been something I've been doing in the live streams, you know, farming from the chorus farm that we got, and then bringing the blocks over here. And from up here we can fly over there. I want to show you the progress that's been made on the Guardian farm. We now have our 4 different corners of the farm actually working. This one needs to be converted to cyan glass, but basically our farm project over here isn't about, you know, efficiency and creating the best farm ever. It's about looks, and I'm going to build something big over here, but I wanted to keep you, like, you know, informed on what's going on. So that one over there is working just fine. However, the water is supposed to go lower down to spawn more guardians. So these other 3 have been sort of built at the correct height. So when I get around to fixing that one, then they're all sort of going to be correct, I guess. And you can see we've, you know, made some more progress clearing the area under the chorus farm. So we're going to need the camera account for this one, because trying to walk around and look at this is a little bit tricky. And I tell you what, those windows are really open, and we got like a whole group of mobs hanging around at the bottom trying to catch me off guard. And this is it so far, so it's looking alright. I think it will get a little bit more impressive as we get up to the next stage though. But it is, yeah, it's looking alright. And from in here, I think it's okay. I'm not really sure how this bit's going to work out. You see, the staircase isn't going to be that glamorous. It's basically going to wrap round like a block in the middle. And lighting is another thing we need to think about, because this has no lighting yet, and at night it doesn't look so great. So I'm not sure if there's actually going to be room for a portal here, because if there is, then it's probably going to be a case of like having a ladder to get up to the next bit, which is something I feel like at this point I want to avoid. You know, climbing up ladders in a tower doesn't feel quite right. To me, a staircase makes much more sense. So you know the deal. On the camera account again, flying around, getting a good look at this tower, and we have built the second section. So there's just going to be some windows above this again, and then the roof on the top, and it looks alright. I think it could do with maybe 1 or 2 details, like some buttons or something on there, but otherwise looking pretty good. And you may have noticed as we're flying around, there is some glowstone in the middle of the tower, and also a staircase. Now I think this glowstone is going to be good for lighting up all the spaces on the inside, including these ledges, which is exactly what we want a light source in there to do. However, it doesn't look too great, and also this staircase as well, not very glamorous. What I've realised is that this tower looks okay from the outside, but on the inside there's very little room to work with, and I don't see myself particularly using this tower that often. The only use I could actually think of it for was perhaps jumping out of it with the elytra, but of course we've got the elytra launcher as well, so it feels like this idea is actually quite redundant, and maybe it'd be a lot smarter just to put the portal here and then have it go out into our base and not really worry about what's in this space, because basically we can't really do too much with it. So, portal in place, and this can probably go. So can these as well. I should have been a little bit more prepared here. And as I look at it, have I got any I do have stair blocks on me. I reckon this would look a little bit better. And already it looks a little bit better. Nice. Got to hide the obsidian. Anyway, you can go through the portal, and then there's this space down here, which is a little bit gloomy. If we head up into the area up top, what you may see is end rods. They look really cool, actually. And they are just there to provide some light for this room. And a moment ago it was night time, and I could show you how gloomy this looked. I think mobs are able to spawn on here, plus you can see the obsidian, so we want to sort of cover that up. And I was thinking maybe what you could do is just fill in this part of the room. And then I started to wonder, well, why not have the room slightly higher than this and perhaps go all the way around? But I think that might be a bit much. So maybe just something like that. Sort of looks a bit odd, but sort of works as well. And going up this side, by the way, I had to change some of the blocks so that they weren't stairs for the ladder. So when we fly around in a moment, that might look a little bit weird. And the end rods are a little bit lower down on here, so they look pretty decent. Just wondering if we should do that again. Yeah, already that looks better. So now you can actually go up and down through here. I think the ladders, you know, they're actually pretty decent, and they can get the job done, basically. You get up here, don't you? So all we got to do is the roof, and now we're going to fly around and have a quick look. And, oh, the server being laggy. I press spacebar and it, oh, look, I'm all the way down here. I'm all the way down here. Oh, looks like we're going to have to get the camera account on. So from the outside, it's looking a little bit better. It's getting there, just the tower to go. By the way, you can hear the portal and the cats because I'm standing over there. And of course, the other account is open and not muted. So it was over on this side that I made a change to stairs. Sorry, to stone blocks. And you can't really tell over on here, though. You can see the difference. So I deliberately, you know, made it okay because it was on this side over here. I thought it's like the less visible part. And I forgot to put those buttons around the outside here. So before we start doing the roof, I better do that. Okay, the roof is red. The roof is red. And what does it look like? Well, let's try to successfully jump off of this and engage the elytra. I could really do with F5. Look at that. There you go. That was not half bad shot. I wish I'd engaged F5 a little bit earlier then. And let's use it to land here as well. Bam. Awesome. Okay. So, we have to go up to the next floor, don't we? We can sort of see a little bit of the roof from the inside, of course. Gonna have to bring the camera account on again. And I've left some netherrack behind, which is not good. Must keep the base nice and clean. And apparently a cobblestone pillar as well. There we go. So that's what the roof looks like from the inside. Not the thing that we're particularly interested in. And I think I'm probably going to leave it open like this. Oh, and I've removed some of my blocks. As I was going to say it, we could probably maybe put a couple of bits of dark oak up there and just make it transition a little better because it just tends to cut off. So yeah. Anyway, right. I'm going to go grab the camera count and we're going to have a look at it from up above. Once again, we got those portal sounds, but this is it. This is the roof. It's all right, very symmetrical and pleasing in my opinion. Doesn't have quite the pizzazz that these roofs have, but it fits the theme really well, I think. You know, another clay roof going in. Man, just from over here, that tower really settles into the picture. I like that very much. There are going to be more expansions and things that we do to this base over time, but that has actually worked out pretty well. And now I feel like it just needs more finishing touches, more details around like the bottom here. This doesn't look very settled. But there you go, that's the tower and that's the roof. It's all done. Alright, so this has now become the focus of my attention. And also installed a little mini beacon over here so we can instant mine the hardened clay, which you only need haste 1 and efficiency 5 for. And so what we're going to do is have a second floor to this space down here, and what I sort of pictured was a really nice big and open sort of staircase that goes down, then across, then down again. And as I started to measure it out, I realized we're going to be really limited for space, because what I'd like to see is at least a gap in the middle, and I'd like this to be at least 3 wide. And it's not going to work if you want to have a banister on the side, which is kind of the vision I've got. And so this thing's going to be 2 wide, but I've just sort of now been thinking, what if we were to push over into this space? Now, at first I ruled this out because of this up here not looking very good, but we could sort of... have I got any stairs? I mean, I've got stone brick stairs. These aren't great, but we could sort of peel this away a little bit and build a separate wall in front of it at this height. And then as long as we start this in the right position, it won't really get in the way. So we open up this space over here, which I was also initially not too keen on using because we wanted to change what was going on outside. So anyway, we're going to have like logs like this. I'll tidy them up, just trying to give you a little bit of a demonstration. And then that means that we can shift this over by 1. And although this is only going to be 2 wide, at least the gap in the middle will be 3, which will make it feel a little bit bigger and spacious. And then we'll have a nice sort of walk down around and back off this way to the floor down below, which is pretty good. And then what I was talking about with the outside is just that over in the distance we've used much more stone bricks and stuff like that. So over there, and if we were to come down, I think we need more space that's behind it. So perhaps when we bring this down, if we choose to do that, we don't have to go with what we've done over here. We can change it up a little bit so that we can keep our wall behind it, right? Because, I mean, you're going to be able to see that if we do what I suggested behind, which doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, all these little things, you know, I said this season what I wasn't going to do was try and, you know, plan the whole thing out. We'd figure it as we go along, and it always just runs into these problems where you've got a little bit of a vision for something, and then you've got to scale it back. Like with the staircase, the spiral staircase up there, that never worked out. and this may suffer the same fate, but we're going to try our best to make it work. So I've just had a little bit of a moment. I've been putting in a balcony here and realising that this alone sort of obscures your view downwards. It's interesting having an idea in your mind and then trying to actually bring it to life in the game. I sort of pictured it all being very open, but it's going to be difficult to do that. Anyway, just had a little bit of a eureka moment, because what I was thinking was perhaps what we'll do is turn this staircase down here, and then somewhere out of sight it will then go off in that direction, which might still be something that I want to do. So you've got this nice big open area here to look into, but there's no reason why we can't just have this continue like along this way, which is free wide, by the way. I think this staircase is going to look so much nicer if it's free wide, because then you're sort of looking out into this open space, which is mainly the thing that I wanted to get out of this room, was like a big open feel. And with the stairs going down there, I reckon you still get that. We've got the walls to build. I decided that this wasn't going to be good enough, that we should probably change it up a little bit, as we're trying to cram too much into this area. And yeah, it's sort of like it's getting there now, so I just got to make a decision really. Do I want this thing to just turn around and go straight off in this direction, or are we going to go down here a little bit and then turn off to the side? Oh, that's not supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be there. Hi. We need to put... Oh, no, maybe not that many. Yes, this is about as far as I'm going to get. This is looking very good, though, and I think this is in the wrong place. That's supposed to go there, and then the dark oak goes across like this. So we've ended up with something that works, in my opinion, and I haven't quite finished the design here, but I think the acacia wood is how it's going to work. So what I'm looking at is a group of blocks that go underneath that one, and then a group of blocks that go up there on the side, and they would be flat with the ceiling. In fact, the ones here could push out a little bit. I don't know. You know, the top of the building, the ceiling, the walls, they need to be finished, but the staircase is in place. And what I really like is what you can't see really from up here. The view's sort of blocked. Let's go down and around, and you'll see that it opens up on our right-hand side, and you can sort of go into the room a little bit more. It all kind of opens up like this, which I think looks real good. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the shape. It's not what I pictured at first, but it definitely works. And we're going to leave it undone, because this game, I just play it for hours and hours, and I never quite get to where I want to go. And that's because I'm probably too ambitious. We built a big tower in this episode, and now we're building the staircase as well. Anyway, I've enjoyed it. I hope you have enjoyed it as well. If you have, leave a like on the video. As always, thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.